there, I'm Jackie Ferris. Nestled along Wilmington's riverfront is the DuPont Environmental Education Center, home to bald eagles, painted turtles, and dragonflies. This week on the 302, we're checking out the center, finding out about its mission, and all of the cool things you can see and do when you come for a visit. Get ready, the 302 is headed your way. We are at the DuPont Environmental Educational Center to learn all about what you can see and do and just get out and enjoy nature. We're joined by John Herod to tell us a little bit about the center and all it has to offer. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about the history of the center. How did we, get to have such a wonderful space?
Yeah, well, this center opened in 2009 after over a decade of work to make it happen. It was actually a hope and dream of Governor Peterson, former governor of Delaware. The refuge that this environmental center sits in is actually called the Russell Peterson Urban Wildlife Refuge. He loved birds, was director of the National Audubon Society for a while, and had a passion for connecting people to the outdoor world. So that's what spurred this on. And through the work of the Riverfront Development Corporation and other partners, they built this site and invited the Delaware Nature Society, which is who I work for, to operate it.
So when you come out here, it really is breathtaking how gorgeous it is. Not just the natural beauty, but the infrastructure that you guys have put into place so that people can really get out into nature. So talk to me about, I know that there's a loop that goes through the marsh, is that right?
Yes, there is. So this site has 212 acres of refuge. A lot of that is freshwater tidal marsh, which is a unique habitat. It's not found very often. A lot of times you might have a saltwater tidal marsh, but freshwater is unique. So we have creative plants or unique plants like wild rice that if we were to take a walk right now, you would see that blooming out there. And through the refuge, we have about a quarter-mile loop around a pond here at the site, as well as we are an access point for the Jack Markell Trail, which goes 5.5 miles from here to historic Newcastle. And there's some additional trails in the further portions of the marsh.
So if you're an outdoorsy kind of person or you enjoy nature, this is the perfect place to come.
It really is, because you're going to see a lot of nature. Even though this is an urban wildlife refuge, a lot of times people think, wildlife refuges and nature places have to be out far away. But you can see the city of Wilmington's right behind us, and we see otters, beavers, bald eagles. You get here early enough, you might see a mink, turtles, lots of wildlife, and actually a lot of beautiful flowers as well. And we're not a zoo, so I can't guarantee any of them will be here at any given time, but if you come back often, you'll see quite a bit.
Except for one, though, you have a turtle in the lobby when you come in.
Oh, yes, we do. So that's an eastern box turtle. It's one of the wildlife that is found here in Delaware and native to the area. And we have him up so that people can engage and see some of the wildlife and actually get to touch it and hold it.
It really is impressive when you walk in, you're like, oh, hello. And it just kind of gives you a taste of, if you're out on the trail, something that you might see. Now, you mentioned birds and the former governor's love of birds. Is there a program where, people, if they want to see a wild animal, they want to see eagles, they want to see birds, that they can learn more about them?
Yes, so throughout the year, we have bird walks at this site, as well as the 3 other sites the Delaware Nature Society operates in Hockessin, Greenville, and Milford in southern Delaware. And those are all found at our website at delnature.org. But regarding programming, every weekend throughout the year, on Saturdays and Sundays, we will take visitors who show up at 2 o'clock out with nets, little hand nets, and allow families and kids and even grown-up big kids trying to maybe catch tadpoles and minnows and see whatever else is in the water. And we also do have a weekly program as well on weekends at 1 o'clock that takes a look at some of those other animals that we have here, that we have a teaching collection. So you met our box turtle, but we also have a whole collection of other turtles that we use for programming. So that's available as well.
Now, the eastern painted turtle, is that different from the box turtle?
Yes, so the box turtle is a terrestrial. It lives on land. The painted turtle is an aquatic turtle, and you find it in the water or sitting on logs out right there next to the water, and they're very shaped differently. A painted turtle is long and narrow, so it's more aerodynamic in the water. A box turtle is boxy and doesn't have to worry about aerodynamics, so it's round, more rounded.
So if we were to go out on the Marsh Loop, would we maybe see a painted turtle?
Yes, they like to sun themselves on logs, so there's a good chance that you would see them. Other turtles we see sometimes are snapping turtles, as well as red-bellied turtles.
So there's just all kinds of turtles out there. What kind of fish do you typically see in this area?
Well, there's a whole, we find perch and goldfish sometimes, which are not something that's part of the ecosystem, but they've been released and over time they're breeding. We find bluegill, which is a small panfish, and pumpkin seed, which is related, and catfish, and a whole host of other fish. And really small ones called mummy chug.
So you always have to keep your eye out for the different varieties.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, we are going to talk a little bit more about everything that you can see and do here when we return.
Hi, my name is Halsey Spruance, and I'm the director of the Delaware Museum of Nature and Science. We love exploring with 302.
Welcome back. We're talking about all of the amazing things that there are to see and do at the DuPont Environmental Educational Center. I'm joined by John Harrod. Now, you are a part of the Delaware Nature Society, which serves the community in so many different ways. Tell me a little bit more about the society and its mission.
Yeah, so we're a statewide nonprofit. So we're found throughout the whole state, but our mission is threefold. We do environmental education, so helping you, the public at large, understand their connection to the environment and the outdoors. We all drink the water, breathe the air. So helping make that connection. So we do that through school field trips, summer camps, canoe trips, lectures, all sorts of creative educational components. We also are a conservation organization, so we help people preserve land or preserve some land of our own. So the Nature Society has preserves that you can visit, and we help people preserve land and then also teach them how to take care of it. And then lastly, we're an advocacy organization, so we work with local governments, state and municipal, to help them understand the decisions they make and the impacts they make on the air we breathe and the water we drink. But to delve a little more into that education piece, we do a lot of engagement here at the DuPont Environmental Education Center with communities in Wilmington who might not have the means or the ability to get out to more rural and suburban areas. So we do a lot of programming that's engaging youth in new to nature activities, helping them understand that you don't have to go very far. Right in your neighborhood, there are great and wonderful things to see.
And that can really have, I would imagine, a ripple effect. If you have programming that involves children, they grow up, perhaps they, buy land, and they really develop a sense of stewardship for the environment. Then maybe full circle, they can come back and learn about preservation for their own property, because you do that, right?
Yes, so, we're working on training the leaders of tomorrow. Regardless of what career profession these children go into, everyone makes decisions. So, they're going to vote, they're going to make personal decisions at their homes. All of those affect the environment. The Delaware Nature Society and staff can't fix or help conserve all by ourselves. We need We need everyone in the community to be able to play their part. It takes a village, as they say.
Absolutely, it absolutely does. And with all the development that's going on in our world, there's always something new here, something new there. I think it's important that we learn how to take care of nature, that grows up around all of these things. But I wanted to ask you about those canoe tours. What exactly do those entail?
So those programs you register with us, and we take you out on a led and guided canoe trip or kayak trip, depending on the day, along the Christina River, which is right next to us here. And we point out the plants and animals that we see along the way. And if you need some encouragement or a little training on how to improve your paddling, we'll do that as we go along. And the Christina River is a historic river that's had a lot of industry on it, so we can address that as well. And it's a tidal river, so we don't necessarily just check out the canoes to people and say, here, have a canoe, come back in a little while. It's wise to have a guide with us to go on that water.
Now, why is that? Is it because tidal? Is that because the water current is strong in certain places and not in others, and you could get into a little bit of...
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the tides, just like the beach, we have a high tide and a low tide here. And as that tide comes in and as it leaves, the current picks up. So we schedule them at times where that current isn't an issue, so that no one gets out of their element or works too hard.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our viewers in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and even Delaware, when they see this, they're going to say, oh, I'd really like to go and check out nature in a canoe. So what do they have to do? Is there a requirement?
There's no requirement, qualification to participate. You do have to wear a life vest. So in case something does go wrong, you will float, and nothing goes wrong. You just float. We'll come pull you out. But all you have to do is register at the Delaware Nature Society's website, which is delnature.org.
Mm-hmm. Is there a fee for it?
There is a registration fee, which helps us actually underwrite some of that programming that I mentioned earlier with the community that is actually provided free to our partner youth.
I can imagine that takes a lot of, you talk about it takes a village, must take a village of people to kind of run all these programs.
Yes, it does, yes. So we have a core of naturalists that help lead those programs with us, and we're thankful for them. They're a wealth of knowledge, and they bring so much joy to the programming and share that with others.
You can always tell when somebody enjoys their job, whenever you go to a museum or even here to the Environmental Education Center, you can see the glow on their faces. They're telling you about, when you were talking about the box turtle. I could see it. So it must just really be a really good environment to work in.
It is a wonderful place to work. I love being able to look out the window every day and see the city and the refuge, and takes away the Monday morning blues. To be able to take a walk around the refuge.
Fantastic. And we're going to talk more about what's going on here at the Environmental Education Center when we return.
I'm Debbie Buxton, the Executive Director of the Historic Odessa Foundation. Come discover Odessa with the 302.
Welcome back. Now, John, this place is settled in such a great area. You have 495, 95, you've got the city over here, and it's amazing because you're surrounded by city, but you really feel like you're in the midst of some really amazing wonders of nature.
Yeah, we're blessed to have this here. Not many cities in the U.S. have an urban wildlife refuge. So to have this easy access via the roads you mentioned and being right here in the city is fantastic. And the riverfront that it's on has some great amenities. You can make a day of it. There's some restaurants and other attractions to enjoy.
Oh, absolutely. Well. This is an amazing area to visit. And you can visit it year round, is that right?
That's right. The grounds here are open dawn to dusk every day. And the building and its animals that we spoke of earlier are available. You can visit Tuesday through Sunday. So we're just closed on Mondays to recover from all our weekend fun.
Sure, sure. So in the, in the fall, I would imagine the leaves probably turn, and then you have the snow in the wintertime. But what is it like here? What is, What is the nature that you see here? How does it change?
Yeah, well, there's never a dull day, and it's not just the wildlife, but the plants. So you mentioned the seasons, come summertime, we have this swath of chartreuse swaying in the breeze as the wild rice that can grow 12 feet tall in a single year blooms. And then in the fall, you get this lovely russet of all of the cattails. And then in the spring, you get the new emergence of the various wildflowers. And then in the winter, we have beautiful, vast expanses of snow and ice. Water always freezes, so you can get down there and look at all the ice crystals and how great they look.
Just beautiful all year round.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the dragonflies. I saw that on your website, and I thought to myself, they list, bald eagles and ducks and turtles and dragonflies. And that has my attention right there. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, and what's neat about them is many people don't know that when they're young, after that, they actually hatch and emerge underwater. They're aquatic insects.
Really?
And it's not until they become an adult that they're flying around. They could spend 6 months to up to 2 years, depending on the species, in the water, then emerge and live for a few weeks to a couple months.
That's surprising. I didn't realize that, they had such a long lifespan.
Yeah, it varies by which one. But as an adult, or actually in the water, they're carnivorous and they eat other insects. And then as an adult, they actually fly around and catch insects in flight and then go back and eat them. So
really? And how
fun
many
insect to watch.
How many are they species? I don't know if that's the right term. How different kinds of dragonflies do you see?
Well, there's quite a few species here. But reliably, there's 3 that we see fairly often. There's one called a common whitetail. Can you guess what it looks like? And then we have one that is called a amber clearwing. It's got amber wings. And another one's called a Needham skimmer, and it's bright red.
Wow, that's amazing. It really is. Now, they prey on, when they're in the water, they prey on, the other, things that live in the water, but what preys on them?
Fish,
Okay.
turtles.
So you gotta watch out for that turtle in the lobby if you're a dragonfly. So tell me more about the bald eagle. When is the right time to come and hopefully get a glimpse of them? And do they have a nest here?
Well, actually, just down the Markel Trail, just across the Christina River, there is a large nest in a marsh right there. So conceivably, you could see them anytime during the year. We do see more in the wintertime as some of the eagles from further north migrate southwards just to have a little more unfrozen water for fishing. But you can see those any time of year. Another large eagle-like bird is the osprey, sometimes called a fishhawk. It actually nests here in the refuge and actually right behind us on this railroad tracks bridge. They come every spring and raise their young and then head back in the fall down to warmer climates.
I can imagine you probably welcome their arrival every spring.
Yeah, we look forward eagerly.
That's good. That's kind of a pun. So whenever we talk about just all of this beautiful wildlife, it's not just about the animals. You also have an ornamental garden, which I saw there was a peace sign that somebody had made in stones. Talk to me a little bit about, what we can see if we're kind of wandering around on the ground.
That garden is roughly about 10 acres, and that's where you parked today. There's a nice parking circle there. And it's a mix of little perennials and big trees to stroll and enjoy. And there's some creative things in there, including some loose stones that we have a lot of guests, whether it's children or adults, who would like to rearrange them and make wonderful things out of them.
Well, it really is a gorgeous place to visit, no matter what time of year. We've been out here a couple of times to get shots of the cityscape and everything, and we've really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
And we'll be right back. For more information on all of the offerings, you can visit delnature.org. That'll do it for this week's episode of The 302. We're going to leave you now with some beauty shots around the area and the city skyline. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on The 302.